I'd like to call on our panel of experts for our last session this afternoon. We'd like to talk about CECs and the value-added services that can provide to their communities. So I'd like to call on my speakers this afternoon. I'd like to ask them to take a seat here in front. May I call on Mr. Bert Barriga, Ms. Nora Fe Alahar, Mr. Jerry Dineros, Dr. Mary Ann Cortado, Ms. Irma Saligumba. Could you please, dito po tayo. Dito po tayo ngayon. Is Sir Bert around? Okay. Ms. Alahar, Ma'am Alahar. Okay. So, Sir Jerry, Dr. Cortado, Miss Irma, Sir Bert, Ma'am Nora. Can I also request for...
Baka ikaw nang tunahin.
Okay. So, good afternoon everyone and welcome to the last session of our 8th KEC, no? So, I guess, no, for the past 2 days, no, by now, hopefully you've realized that, and you've seen, okay, the theme of our conference this year, no? Ang theme po natin is, ano nakalagay? Bigyan natin ng prize yung unang magsasabi. Kung ano yung theme ng ating, KEC for this year. Okay. I'd also like to ask to join us here the podium, Mr. Al Alegre. Okay? Right? So if you've noticed, no, the theme of our session for KEC 8, no, has something to do about seizing opportunities for CECs towards inclusive development, no? So for the past 2 days, no, there have been a lot of discussions. Ano pa ba ang mga kakaiba na mga services ang pwedeng i-provide ng ating mga community e-centers? So we've listened to a lot of stories, a lot of sharing from other sessions, from our other presenters, from national government, from local government, and even from our international guests, no? So for this session, we're bringing together a very distinguished panel of experts from various disciplines. But I think what we have in common with all of our presenters here in front is that they're all passionate about the use of ICTs for development. No? Some of them are directly working with community e-centers. Some of them are working in other areas of ICTs. But I'd like to bring them all together because I'd like to get their suggestions on how we can make sure that your CECs can provide what I'd like to call value-added services to your community. So I guess this particular session is really geared towards our community e-center managers and also to our mayors, no? So, for example, for our mayors, siguro this is something to ponder. No? As mayors, how can we maximize the use of the community e-centers in our municipalities, no? Kasi, no, for many of our CECs, these CECs are supported by our local chief executives, no? But we'd like to encourage our local chief executives to think beyond the box and see ano pa ba ang mas magagandang services na pwede lang i-provide. And siguro, as a challenge to our mayors, how can our mayors encourage CECs to become more self-sustaining? No? Kasi maganda rin naman galing sa mayors na inspire nila ang mga CEC managers nila to look at other ways on how their CECs can be sustained. or how CECs can generate revenue for your municipalities. We'd also like to encourage our CEC managers here, no, to also look at more value-added services, no? So, meron tayong meron ang CECs, they have yung mga, yung kanilang mga bread and butter services, kumbaga, yung provision of digital literacy, provision of internet access sa kanilang mga tao, no? But what more can we offer to our communities using our community e-centers, no? So, maybe I'd like to quickly introduce our panel this afternoon. Right. So first, I'd like to introduce from your left. No, I'd like to introduce first Mrs. Nora Fe Alahar. She is the city librarian of the Davao City Library and Information Center. So, Ma'am Nora Fe, or we call her Bing, she is the most outstanding alumni in Library Information Science at the University of Mindanao. She also has a service award that was given to her by the Philippine Librarians Association. Through her leadership, the public library in Davao soared to greater heights when it was judged Outstanding City Library in 2009 by the National Commission on Culture and the Arts, the National Library of the Philippines, and the Philippine Librarians Association. So her library here in Davao has also attained some distinctions, like the Alab Haraya Award, Outstanding Library in Programs with the NCAA, as well as, again, the Outstanding City Library for 2001. So presently, she has under her office 33 plantilla personnel in her library, all providing information access, 4 district libraries, and 3 reading centers. With the expansion of her many programs, Ma'am Alahar, Ma'am Bing, attributes her success to her co-employees and the city's leadership. Okay? And next to her is Mr. Jerry Dineros. So Jerry has been working with leading multinational corporations such as Microsoft, Hewlett-Packard, Abbott, to name a few, across Asia for several years. His passion and interest include designing and facilitating leadership and management development programs for leaders in multinational companies, and doing organizational development interventions. This includes executive coaching, change management, leadership development, assessments, among others. So he is currently working in designing and implementing programs for building next generation leaders with focus on social entrepreneurship. His company is working on systems and models for assessing talent even at the most remote areas of the Philippines. So hopefully this would open doors for business and livelihood in the countryside. With his strong computer science background, Jerry hopes that this will help him leverage on the power of information and communications technologies. So next to Jerry is Miss Irma Saligumba. She is the Health Research and Projects Coordinator of the Molave Development Foundation Incorporated. So since 2007, she's been there, and she's also the lead researcher of an Asia-wide network of researchers on e-health, focusing on adoption and application. Prior to Irma's involvement in FDF in Molave, she spent 4 years in Laos as a provincial health trainer of an organization called Health Unlimited. She also served as training specialist for 4 years at the Philippine Rural Reconstruction Movement, focusing on leadership building, gender development advocacy. So Irma is a registered nurse and has earned her